All right, guys, welcome to everybody who is online. This is just breaking news from what's happening out there in the world. I think this is very, very important for all of us to understand. Let me just get this properly so that you will be able to see what's happening here. Stand by, guys. Stand by. All right, guys. Let's get it on. So, Hormuz Straits is gonna be closed. They're gonna close it. They're gonna close it. Iran is gonna close it, and that is gonna cause a lot of problems for the entire world. I think we all expected this reaction from Iran following the bombing of its nuclear sites last Friday night into Saturday morning by the U.S. So this was expected to come. This is going to affect a lot of countries. A matter of fact, the entire world. This will affect your food prices, your gas prices. Everything is going to skyrocket, and without the gas, you know what happens. So, transport costs, all of the islands will go up. Food prices in all of the islands will go up. Some of the things that we're looking for will go scarce, definitely go scarce. And so this is a good time to start checking up and making sure that you have all that necessary to survive this conflict. Let me just let me just tell you one more time. Iran's parliament has voted to close the Strait of Hormuz. This is a very vital and important shipping lane for all of the oil and gas in the world. As a matter of fact, it's around, I think, it's a narrow stretch of water, and the ships usually carry around $1.2 billion of oil every day. And that now is at the heart of the conflict. I think everybody knew that day would come. That day would definitely come. And so, as they always say, if you don't want war, don't start war. And that is the problem we're having. And so this is going to be causing a very serious problem for the Caribbean in general. We don't drill the oil like these countries like Oman and Saudi Arabia, Iran, and all these countries. We don't do that. Trinidad, Petrotrin is closed. They are importing oil and refining the oil. I think Virgil could tell me about that in Trinidad. I think they're importing the oil now and refining it, or because Petrotrin is closed, so they're importing gas, I think, or oil. So this is a serious problem that the Caribbean has found itself in right now, and the rest of the world. It's gonna be more so a big problem for the Caribbean because we don't have big reserves where we store oil and gas for a long time. It's almost every other week that these vessels come into the Caribbean countries and deliver gasoline. So this is a serious problem. This is a serious problem, and it means that the food prices are going to skyrocket. Gasoline prices are skyrocket. So if you're driving your private vehicle every day and gasoline, I understand that it can actually skyrocket 10% just on the closure. It can skyrocket the price of oil 10% just on the closure alone, and then following that, because the ships are not moving, it just continue to rise. So you might just find yourself one day at the pumps, gasoline, maybe a gallon in some countries, 10, 12, $15 per gallon, and you might just find yourself the next day they're telling you it's $25 a gallon. That's how bad it's going to become. I mean, people don't understand this. These are problems. Electricity bill, don't talk about that. You pay $500 a month for electricity bill, that will ricochet maybe up to $1,000 a month for the same usage. This is the calamity of war. This is the calamity of war. Yeah? This is the calamity of war. And Realist in the chat says, internet bill will skyrocket and increase because the ISPs need energy. Absolutely. You ever heard about the AIs? You see the amount of energy they need to propel them, to get them going? That's right. So the ISPs need the oil as well. So you know what's going to happen there? Internet bill is going to skyrocket. And we know in the Caribbean, these governments just love to hear oil prices skyrocket. They just love to hear prices skyrocket on the world market, and the next day they tell you, oh, it's going up by $20, and the cooking gas you have going up by $15. They just love to hear these things because they can find no way of doing anything to better your life. Really, that's all. They don't. Just a bunch of lazy politicians. So, what's the advice right here? Well, the advice is to start getting your coals, store them. Chop down your firewood and start getting your coals and store them. Matter of fact, guys, share the live if you're on. All of you guys on, share the live, share the live, share the live, share it around. Let's get going because we need other people to come into the class right now. So this is what is going to happen. You need to start chopping down the trees. Not all of them. Look for some firewood, get some coals and put it aside. Yeah. If you could get kerosene oil early, get it early, because what you're going to find is that you may need to go back to lantern and candle for a while. You may not even get candles either after a while, but you may need to go back to lantern because you may have electricity cuts every Monday morning. And that is where the problem is going to come from. You may have electricity cuts every Monday morning because there's not enough oil to deliver electricity to your homes. Yeah, well, Trump says that the US has most reserve of oil. So, drill, baby, drill. Well, you see, that's the US. That's the US. The US do have oil reserve, a large US oil reserve. They do have that. And they can survive whatever they want to. I mean, they will get affected, but they can at least survive for a time. You can't survive in the Caribbean here with all the oil coming on the ships every Monday morning. That is a problem for us. So, look at the Strait of Hormuz right here. This is the latest satellite. This is the latest satellite. You see that right there? You see that? That is the Strait of Hormuz, right? That little enclave right there, right here, right there. That is the Strait of Hormuz, right there. And these are that's Iran over there on the right. That's United Emirates. That's Oman. That's Qatar, Saudi inside there, Kuwait. All these vessels going inside that little gap here. That's what's going on. That's the amount of ships currently moving in and out of there. Oil, just going with oil. $1.2 billion of oil per day. Now, could you imagine that being stopped for a month? Just a week alone will cause problems. 2 weeks, even more problems. A month, worse. Could you imagine that? They will ration the electricity, and we already have ration with water. Grateful for the fulfilling of prophecy, a measure of wheat for a penny. Oh, how I hate this world. Yep, that's correct. A matter of fact, Ezekiel talked about that. The book of Ezekiel talked about what's happening there with Israel and the Iron Dome. You know the Iron Dome was mentioned in Ezekiel, right? All right then. Okay, I just want to let you know that. I'm not sure if you guys know that the Iron Dome was mentioned in the book of Ezekiel. All right. I think that's a program by itself. So let's see what's happening out here in the universe. Iran orders closure of Strait of Hormuz, putting 1/5 of world's oil supply at risk. Iran's parliament has voted to close the Strait of Hormuz, the vital shipping channel through which around 20% of the world's daily oil flows. The move, which could block 1 billion in oil shipments per day, is likely to send oil prices soaring. It will come into effect pending a final decision by Iran's Supreme Council. All right? So guess when they're going to make that decision? They're saying that the Supreme Council's decision must be made by tonight, according to Iran's state-run press TV. Iran's major escalations in response to U.S. strikes on its nuclear facilities will be done when necessary. The strait connecting the Gulf of Oman with the Persian Gulf is one of the world's most critical choke points, just 20 miles wide at the narrowest point. Shipping lanes in the strait, the area that is deep enough for ships to pass, are even narrow at less than 2 miles wide in each direction, making them more vulnerable to attacks and threats of closure. You understand what's happening here, right? The channel is shallow, making it particularly target for underwater mining. So if some Navy vessel from some Western nation decide that they're gonna head in there, Iran can place mines inside that water which is so shallow. And then you know that's another war started there again. While the narrowness of the strait makes passing vessels vulnerable to attack from shore-based missiles or interception by patrol boats or helicopters, Iran has no legal authority to block the sea traffic, they're saying, through Hormuz, and any attempts by its navy to bar entry to the strait would likely to be met with strong response. So this is what they're saying. Iran has no authority to block the sea traffic. Could you imagine that? So everybody else has a right to bomb Iran, but Iran has the right to do nothing, apparently. Ships with the U.S. Fifth Fleet, along with other Western navies, are patrolling the area at all times, they're saying. It is bordered by Iran to the north and Oman and United Arab Emirates to the south. The bulk of the oil exported by the regional petrogiants Iran, Iraq, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE all travel through this narrow waterway. So, guys, this is the issue right now. Iran is closing the Strait of Hormuz, and once it's blocked, oil prices will go up, food prices will go up, gas at the pumps will go up. Every living thing on the planet will go up that needs gasoline, electricity, oil to power it. I tell you, this is crazy. But one thing you need to know is that Ezekiel did mention the Iron Dome. Ezekiel says, then take an iron plate. You got that? An iron plate. And today it's called the Iron Dome. And set it as an iron wall between you and the city. So Ezekiel talked about the Iron Dome, where Israel will take it and set it between you and the city. So it's between whoever is coming in and the city. Tel Aviv, Haifa, wherever. Right? And you shall set your face against it, and it shall be besieged. So the Iron Dome will be besieged. Do you understand what is happening here? I know a lot of people, sometimes when you talk news, they don't like to hear about prophecy, but everything that's happening in this world happens in the spiritual before it's manifest in the physical. Ezekiel talked about the Iron Dome. He called it an iron plate. And he said, it shall be besieged. So the Iron Dome will be besieged, and you shall lay siege against it. So some country will come against Israel, and the Iron Dome is in play, and it says it is a sign to the house of who? Israel. Ezekiel talked about the Iron Dome. That's right. Talked about the Iron Dome, and he talked about the city being besieged, Israel being besieged. And they're using the Iron Dome between the city and you, whoever is coming in after them. So it's all in prophecy. Ain't no lie here. And he says, here's what he says here. And he said to me, son of man, see, I am going to cut off the supply of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with fare, and drink water by measure and with dread, so that they lack bread and water, and shall be appalled with one another, and be consumed in their crookedness. So what is he saying here? What is he saying here? What is Ezekiel saying here? He says, the Most High will cut off the supply of bread and water to Israel. They shall lack bread and water, and they shall be appalled with one another, so shall be angry with one another, and they will be consumed in their crookedness. All of that is inside prophecies by Ezekiel. That's the word of the Most High. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but it's a fact. It's there. Ezekiel talked about the Iron Dome. So all of these things that we're seeing today, they've all been prophesied and foretold by the prophets. And you can't do anything about that. That can't be reversed. Prophecy is prophecy, and it must be fulfilled. That is just what it is. Now, we are living in the Caribbean, this part of the world. We won't see the bombs, and you won't get plenty of the problems. The problem for us now is the gasoline, which drives our electricity, our homes, our internets, water supply, all the things. That is where our problem will come in. So, I'm going to advise you, start storing up coals, kerosene oil. If you could buy an extra bottle of cooking gas or 2 extra bottles of cooking gas and put them down, do that. If you could buy a jug of gasoline for your vehicle, if you use your vehicle, do that. Because, my friends, it's about to go down. And there's nothing any of us in this side of the world will be able to do except to deal with the repercussions. And if you don't plan, what happens if you don't plan? Okay, I'm not going to tell you that. He who don't plan plans to fail. That's all I'm going to say to you. Virgil says we'll feel the problem. Of course, in a big way. In a very, very big way, we'll feel the problem. We're going back to the Stone Age. You ever heard your parents talk about coal pot? Firewood? If you don't know about it, go learn about it now. And if your children if they don't like to eat cassava and tanya and dashin, you better teach them how to eat it now. Because they won't be getting their lovely pizza and their lovely KFC like they like to eat and don't like to eat proper foods. Get them. Get them, alright? Get them. And no one never said the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Or blocked. We said that the Iranian parliament has voted to close it, and the decision will be made by midnight tonight. That's what the Iranian press and parliament has stated, and they will be closing it. Okay? You must learn to listen. Listen. Nobody comes on here to give misinformation. Alright? Go get your coal pot ready. Go get your firewood ready. Go get your gas bottle ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't come here to fight with me. Not in a good mood today to talk about that. Ezekiel prophesied it. There's nothing anyone can do to stop it. So guys, like I said, if your children do not like to eat cassava, if they do not like to eat tanya and dashin, get them to like that now. Get them to like it now. Because in the coming days and weeks, when the gasoline and the electricity start to flicker, you will know what time it is. You will know what time it is. I'll go over Ezekiel for you again. Here's what Ezekiel prophesied. He says, and son of man, take a clay tablet, and shall lay it before you, and shall inscribe it on a city, Jerusalem, and shall lay siege against it, and build a siege wall against it, and heap up a mound against it, and set camps against it, and place battle rams against it all around. So it will be encircled. It will be encircled. And then he said what? Then take an iron plate, the iron dome, and set it as an iron wall between you and the city. So Israel will take the iron dome and set it as a wall between whoever is coming to attack them and their city. And they shall besiege, and it shall be besieged. And you shall lay siege against it, and it shall be assigned to the house of Israel. You hear that? So Ezekiel talked about the iron dome. It's all in prophecy. Nothing you can do to stop it. Absolutely nothing. Virgil said as of Monday morning, the strait is closed, full stop. Of course it's closed. Of course it is. Full stop. It will be closed. New world order is coming. I have a big garbage bag full of matches, so I can give out to a pack or two if you have none. 3 days ago I dreamed they told me to take all my old appliances and plant in them. So guys, I just wanted to come and bring that to you, and I hope that you will take it for what it's worth, and that you would make necessary preparations. Until we talk again,